time. I am your host, Dr. Matthew Richardson, and welcome to another stream of CosmoQuest Astro Office Hours. Let me go ahead and first verify that the stream is acting as it should be. That is, I'm actually streaming on Twitch, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a Twitch browser and verify that. But I hope everyone's doing well today. The weekend was very refreshing for me, so let's see. Hopefully it was the same for you. Alright, what are we at here? CosmoQuest. Not yet registering that I'm streaming, but let's see if it's showing an image of me. Yes, there's an image of me. Alright. So it is streaming, but now I need to reboot Twitch or reboot Chrome, navigate back to Twitch. That way I can actually access the chat. Let's see. But in general, my plan is to just make this into a more a work stream. But a question in the last stream that I had really got my brain thinking about a few things. Hey, Peter. So let's go ahead and pop out the oops, that's the wrong one. Let's pop out the chat. I can minimize this. And quickly say hi to Keeper of Maps, Electrical Skateboard, Michael T. Mayer, Peter, and Tchaikovsky. Welcome, guys. And for all others that are currently here and aren't showing up on the viewer list, I apologize. If you make a comment, though, I will say hi to you. Hey, Guido. So, in one of the previous streams, did you tell the school about the benefits of science? So it wasn't the event was a health event at my daughter's school this past Friday, and so I went, give support. My daughters were like extremely happy to see me there. Me, my wife, and my other two children. We all went, and so they were happy to see us. Gotta make the memories, right? That's important. So it went really well, though. Thank you, Peter. Maybe actually in the future they might have like a what is that called? The where parents come in and then they explain their profession or something like that. Maybe they might have one of those days, and I'll volunteer and come in and talk some science then. And hopefully influence the young minds of tomorrow, or the minds of tomorrow, to come and do science. But to get back to what I was just saying, though, Larry, hello, Larry. Larry mentioned in one of the previous streams. Yeah, that would be pretty cool, though, Peter. It would be. Hopefully, I get the chance to. But Larry asked a very good question in one of the previous streams, and it completely threw me off my game. I couldn't answer it. And the question was, because I never really truly thought about it much, if you have, let's say that you take two particles, and yeah, thank you, Career Day, that's what it's called. Thank you, Keeper of Maps. Let's say you take two particles, and one of those particles is at rest. Let's just say two protons, for example. One of the particles is at rest, and the other particle is moving relativistically. And the relativistic particle passes by the particle at rest. Will there be a stronger gravitational attraction between the particle moving relativistically relative to the particle moving at rest, compared to the scenario of which the two particles are just at rest next to each other. And so I kept thinking about that, and I was like, well, in my mind, I know that in general, you just go with, Newtonian gravity. It is the gravitational force between two particles of some mass, m1, m2. You basically get that force is equal to the gravitational constant times the product of their masses divided by the distance between them squared. And in general, that works quite well, right? But then when you start getting into relativity and stuff like that, it's like, that equation isn't, the best equation to use. And honestly, I just kept thinking about it. Hey, Susie. I kept thinking about it, and I was like, this would be a very good topic to talk about. And I'm not going to talk about it today because I'm still like writing up notes and stuff like that. We're going to be going through some fun math. I'll put it that way. We're going to go through some fun math. Oh, that's cool, Larry. I'll definitely do that. But yeah, it just got me thinking. Like, if what would happen, and if there is a stronger gravitational attraction in the case of you have the relativistic particle moving past the stationary particle, exactly how much stronger would the force be? Hey, what's going on, high altitude chair cough? So yeah, I really want to like truly look into that and see if like there's a way of being able to like calculate it. I mean, I don't even know if you can calculate it. If you can determine exactly how much stronger the force would be. I'm definitely going to look into it though. Yeah, I saw Peter's comment about a bathroom holder and stuff like that. What are you guys talking about here? Hold on, I'm trying to figure this out now. I saw a statement earlier about a well done steak being extremely bad for your health. I love well done. I love steak, period, actually. Oh, cool. So I'm assuming you're talking about your TAing. TAing was fun. Supley's paradox? I'm going to look that up, actually. I am going to get back to actually doing some work and explaining what I'm doing with the whole C stuff in the background. But I want to just quickly bring that up because I want to make it into a... Gotcha! I'm with you guys. Okay, I'm going to read more into this Supley's paradox thing. But yeah, I just thought I would bring it up really quickly because I want to definitely talk about it a lot more. Because of course, like for example, with momentum, you know, your ordinary, well, not your ordinary equation, but your typical equation you'd probably use is momentum is equal to the mass of the particle times its velocity. But whenever the particle begins to move faster and faster, you got to take into consideration relativistic effects, and so the equation's modified for that when you add on the Lorentz factor. And so my thoughts were, okay, would there be a similar situation with, you know, force, gravitational force? But yeah, I'm going to definitely look into it a lot more, and we're going to definitely talk about it, like have a really good conversation. All right, so my plan for today in general is just, what's the velocity of some toilet paper when grabbed by a cat? It's so fast that you wouldn't be able to catch the cat. Cats have some pretty quick paws. Hey, Uncle Bill Druin. Exactly, Guido. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, being a TA is definitely fun, right? Um, the only part about it that I'd say that wasn't so much fun at times, but not always fun, is that, you know, you have to grade papers. And the fun part about it is being able to look at all the interesting, you know, responses that the students supply for questions. But then just having to keep doing it over and over and over again, it can get tedious. But nevertheless, though, I mean, being able to, you know, disseminate some knowledge on a particular topic, it's one of the funnest things you could possibly do as a grad student or even as like a professor. Well, no, I like research too. Research is pretty fun too. I like them both. I mean, but specifically about TAing, I think that was the only thing about it, was that whenever I had to grade papers, it just took a very, very long time. And you're trying your best, you know, especially when you're grading papers, you're trying your best to not, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Be consistent, be fair, and stuff like that, which could be very difficult. Hey, Bill Nash. Yes, thank you, Peter. Enough distractions. But yeah, this is my last statement that's off topic for today's stream, which today's stream being me getting some work done. As far as TAing is concerned and grading papers, yeah, you definitely get a wide range of answers, right? Answers that are like that are more in depth than what you were expecting, right, for a particular question, versus answers that are completely unrelated, right? Completely unrelated question answers to the question. Oh man. All right. So I am currently still working on some more tools for the mapper projects, for being able to do some data reduction and stuff like that. At the moment, I think I wanted to quickly check one of the plots that I was trying to make because it was coming out wrong. I kind of did a little bit of this in one of the previous streams, but then stopped to move on to another function I wanted to write, but I'm going to revisit it, And basically, this particular function should produce a plot that would show the number of active users relative to the number of inactive users, as well as produce another plot that will show the number of current users versus the number of non-current users. And the way in which this information is determined is based off of time intervals that I essentially pass to the code, and it uses those time intervals to determine whether a user is either a recent or an active user. So the word I want to use, not active, but if they are a repeat user, excuse me, and whether or not they're a current user. Thanks, Susie, for posting that I'm currently streaming right now. I just saw the post. All right. So let's actually open that up. I think this is going to be, of course, in the utilities. I want that open, and I also want the plotting package open. All right. So I don't need to do that, actually. Let's run it anyway, just to make sure that everything compiles like it should. Okay. That's what it should do. It should compile. I mean, I haven't really made any changes, so. And so as you can tell in this directory that I'm showing here, I actually have a plot already, and that plot was coming out wrong. And so I've been trying to fix it. Let's see. Military science. But yeah, definitely great question. What's up, Noel? So I was just saying that sometime this week, hopefully Wednesday, we will definitely talk about the problem of the gravitational force between two objects when one or even both objects, we'll start off with the simple case of one, where one object is moving relativistic or moving somewhere near the speed of light relative to the other object. I want to see if there's going to be a significant change in the amount of force. That is the gravitational force between the two objects when that's the case. Hey Adam, I missed your comment there. Alright, I wanted to go look at this plot again. I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed, but I want to make sure. Oh wait. Okay, no, I'm wrong. It appears to be working just fine. Alright. Let's make sure though. Need to make sure. So let's do a few outputs to the screen. I can leave it there because I'll need to. Well, first things first. I'm definitely calling it here. Repeat current users. Good. I am now plotting current user. And then I have it here. But I want to know exactly how many current users am I starting off? Well, how many users am I starting off with? Just to be sure, let's see. Let's do that. So each entry in this vector I'm about to print out, well, each entry in this vector CU represents a user. And it's indicating, well, for this particular function, it's going to indicate whether or not that user is a current user or not a current user. If they are a current user, the entry will basically be a Boolean value of true. If they're not a current user, the entry for that user would be a Boolean value of false. But right now what I want to know is how many users I want to know how many users I want to know how many users there are or how many elements there are in this particular vector. Let's see, end L, and I can exit. Now the particular copy of the database that I currently have is an older copy, and the database has definitely grown since my copy of the database. So the numbers are not going to be, the numbers that I get will be true for the database, for my version of the database, but not for the updated version of the database. See out, that's good. Let's make it. Oh. All right. Even though it was just a warning, I prefer for my compilations to be error and warning free, if possible. And 2 warnings. Oh wait, I can't do anything about that warning. For right now, I'm not going to do anything about it. It's minor. It's another function that I'm working on, which I'm currently not using one of the parameters I'm passing to the function in its definition. So that's an okay warning. All right. So if I run it, I shouldn't get a plot though. At least not yet. It'll tell me the number of elements in the vector CU, which is the equivalent of saying the number of users there are. Thanks, Adam. Actually, I need to at some point request an updated copy of the database. Yeah, I completely understand, Noel. There's definitely some information that I cannot um, divulge while I'm doing my streams, but this information is I believe the information I'm currently putting out here is not anything that's sensitive information for CosmoQuest. If it is, I'm pretty sure I'll be told to not do it again. But I try to make sure I avoid, giving any information that's, sensitive. Let's see. Okay, that's that. If I look at my plot, all right. So it appears to be working properly, but I wonder what did I set to be the time interval for what I consider to be a current user. So the plot I'm getting is stating that all the users of the 6,050 users that I'm getting right with that output there, all of them are not current users. But that's heavily dependent upon exactly how far in the past relative to today do I consider a user to be current. And again, you have to also take into account that my copy of the database is an older copy of it, so I have to factor that in as well. All right, so let's change some things. So I think I put it here actually. No, it's actually going to the so repeat current users marks 1 1. If I go back and I look at the definition for what this function is, let's see, let's scroll up. So the second argument is going to be the number of hours between independent sessions of using either one of these apps. Oh, of course. I've said 1 day. So if you basically made a mark within the past day, you'd be a current user. But it's relative to the timestamp for the copy of the database that I have. All right, so I need to actually take that into consideration as well. So my version of the database, I need to go find out exactly when did I get that version. Let's see, tab. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Am I too close there? Okay. I'll back up a little bit. I'm a Cylon. What TV show is that from? Um Cylons. I remember. Battlestar Galactica, yes. Alright, so I want to change this. And Davros is Doctor Who? Okay. Yeah, my chances of actually getting to watch watch television, it's dwindled. So let's change that. Actually, let's do this. CosmoQuest downloads. You said Lucy Lawless? She was a fierce Cylon. Wasn't Lucy Lawless Xena, right? Let's see. Hmm. Oh, this is a very old copy. I definitely need to get a newer copy. All right, so hmm. Let's take my date and figure out the amount of time difference. All right, so basically for me to be able to determine current users relative to the timestamp for the copy of the database that I have, I'm going to first need to go online and calculate the elapsed time between now and the timestamp for that copy. Let's see. So today's date is 4/16/2018. The time for 12:30. It's the end date. What was this? August 18, 16. See you later, Larry. So there were humanoid Cylons. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched Battlestar Galactica. And I can't even right now fully remember the plot. Okay, so I'll take this and I'll add it on. So it turns out that my copy of the database is 244 days old. Wow. I definitely need to grab a new copy. Nevertheless, the functions that I'm writing, will still work with any new copy that I get. So, okay. So what I want to do is let's go back to this. This is the number of days for current. So I need to go here, plug that in, but I want to do everything relative to this. So let me just quickly do this then. It takes an integer, right? Or double. So I can do fractions of a day. Cool. Double offset. There. And we're going to pass offset plus, let's do it the equivalent of a year from there. So 365. Because it has to be in units of days. Alright, with that in mind, I can now go ahead and it'll go there, it'll calculate the current users. I can get rid of this. I can recompile and see what happens. Which gives me a perfect time to look at some comments here. Yeah, it took me 15 minutes just to get that information right. I typically go a whole lot faster than this. I'm trying to also make sure that every now and then I go back and look at what's going on with the chat. And some of the information here, it's been a while. Like I used to watch Battlestar Galactica a while ago, and I've forgotten everything. So refugees fleeing from Earth because of the Vogons. Let's see. All right, that's good. All right, compile it and run it. So this should produce a new plot, and my assumption is that at least a fraction greater than 0 I should see current users. So any number of days that would have been less than 244 days, I would always get no current users, because the copy of the database that I have is 244 days old. man, I've completely forgotten all of this. There's only been a few times when I've like actually went back to review episodes of a particular TV series. Like I think at one point in time I went back and rewatched some episodes from Star Trek Voyager. I want to go ahead and look at the plot and see what I get. Oh, cool. All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 100. All right. So the plot appears to be working. So relative to the timestamp of the copy of the database that I have, if we go back, let's see. How far did I go back? A year. If we go back a year from that date, which in this case corresponds to August 15th of 2016. There would be 1,100 current users for these three apps, the Mercury, Moon, and Mars Mapper apps. All right. And so I'll actually just show you this quick plot. I mean, it's not giving away specific user information, but just to show you what I mean. So let's go to OBS. Let's make a new scene, or let's use a previous scene. I'm going to delete this. I want to add this plot. And so if I had a recent copy of the database, I could be able to better determine for these three apps who's considered to be a current user and who's considered not to be a current user. And so I could change that value. Let's say that I were to a really good test actually over the lifetime of the CosmoQuest project. So if I go back as far as 2012 actually, let's see. So let's go. That all the users should be current then. So this will be my quick little test. So Aquamax. Let's switch scenes first. So back to Aquamax. I think here for utilities, or is it now? Here, there we go. So I want to do back to 2012. The offset puts me, let's make a note of this. corresponds to August 15th, 2017. So if I want to go back to 2012, or at least August 15th of 2012, that's 5 years, so I can just multiply this times a factor of 5. And let's see where this gets me. And let's rerun it. Let's look at comments really quick. Wait. Hold on. Okay, guys. I'm trying to keep up with the conversation here, and the Vogons are a part of the Battlestar Galactica, but it looks like you guys are talking about Star Trek here, right? Let's see. All right. I can now recheck the plot. Let's close out that version. Oh, that's interesting. Well, it appears to be working properly at the very least. So even when we go all the way back to August 15th of 2012, most of the users are now current. With only with about 1,100 not current. Alright, well then 6. But yeah, that sounds about right though. I feel like my geek card has been taken away from me, guys. I'm listening to I'm reading through the conversation, and I swear I can't remember any of this stuff. Alright, so this function appears to be working just fine. And of course, this offset's going to change the moment we get to tomorrow. Well, as time moves on, this offset is constantly changing. Yeah, I know, right? Graduate school is like going into a cave, guys. it's, it's like going into a cave. You step in, and like the rest of the world just disappears. All right. So this function appears, at least this part of the function appears to be working properly. If I go back 6 years in time, am I getting this right? If I did 6 years, but it's also relative to the offset, so it's actually close to almost about 7 years. If I go almost back in 7 years in time, I'm pretty sure that all the users would be considered current. And they should be considered current. And if they're not, then that really does mean my function is not working properly. I'm pretty sure it'll give the answer that I'm expecting. Actually, a really interesting test, because I would assume that the first users would be CosmoQuest users. So I actually could use this algorithm also to isolate. Yeah, I could use this algorithm to isolate, of course, where the CosmoQuest users are in the database. That is CosmoQuest staff users. Assuming, of course, it was the first users that were created were CosmoQuest, or the first users to use the apps were CosmoQuest staff members. Because even at the moment, I don't exactly know what user IDs correspond to CosmoQuest staff members. And that's only because I haven't really checked into stuff like that. I'm more concerned about generally what's going on versus like specific users. Let's see. All right. Let's look at the plot. And it's exactly as I expected. All the users are considered to be current now, because I'm pretty sure that the time that I've put in, it exceeds the lifetime of the CosmoQuest project. So, cool. All right, so now I can do the same thing with repeat users, but repeat users is basically based off of the elapsed time between independent sessions of using these apps. And so, okay, I'll leave that. And so that's going to be this one, but I need to first create the function. Oops, wrong thing. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's correct this. This is the one I wanted to increase. All right. So repeat users is there. I need to uncomment it here. Do I not have it in here? Current users. Marks per user. Oh, I haven't defined the function. That's why it's not working. Let's see. All right, let's just do this. We can do a quick copy and paste and make modifications. So it looks like you guys have moved on to Ghostbusters. Which is the reason why you should never cross streams, right? See, that one I remember. I remember that one. All right, so this now becomes repeat users. And I can just basically make this RU instead. Everything else should probably remain the same because I'm basically just going to be plotting the exact same thing but for repeat users. So I can keep all of that the same. I want to change my labels to be a repeater, non-repeater. And everything else I think would be the same. Let's see, but this needs to be now become repeat users. I'm using RU, right? So let's do a global change from CU to RU. Okay, that's it. And everything else should be good. Except this now needs to be called repeatusers.ps. And so I should be able to compile the program and it should be all right. I realize I've been very quiet here, guys. I apologize. So it should now print out 2 plots if I rerun it. One plot called current users, the other plot called repeat users. But I need to change the time interval from independent sessions. I mean, this is going to be in units of, let's see. What is it expecting? It's expecting units of, in units of hours. So any users who use the apps within a time span of 1 hour of each other, which in this case I'm considering one independent session, then an hour elapsed, and then they've used the app again, any of the apps, they'd be considered repeat users. Let's make sure that's how I defined it. But something tells me, though, of course, this will end up coming out to be that everyone's a non-repeat user. Because I wouldn't expect for independent sessions to be back to back like that. And if it is, then that user's probably only use the apps like twice or once. Would once be considered? I gotta check the code to make sure that that's how it's been written. That they've at least used the apps more than once, too. Let's see. That's interesting. It's the exact opposite of what I expected. It's saying that roughly 4,600 users out of the 6,000 roughly users are repeat users. Which means that their independent sessions are within 1 hour of each other. Does that make sense? Right? So I might need a bit of I might need another graph to better help me understand this though. Because even if I have just one user, it might actually be useful to be able to also look at, and of course this information would be strictly my eyes only, but it might be also useful to be able to plot for a specific user how often that user is using these apps, and just do it for a few users, because this is what I expected. All right. Keeper of maps. I'm class 2 free floating non. So yeah, I'm assuming my assumption here is that given it how I've written this algorithm, basically what it would do is for a given user, it would take all the timestamps for the marks that have been created by that user, and it would determine what's the elapsed time between the marks. So all the marks are going to be ordered in time, and it's going to basically calculate, well, what's the elapsed time between each individual mark. Now, certain marks, you've crossed the streams. Now, certain marks will, of course, not of course, but certain marks will have the same timestamp given how information is input into the database. But given that it's ordered, all the marks that have the same timestamp will be grouped together. And so the algorithm knows to basically just only take one of those timestamps and then move on to a new timestamp or another timestamp that's different, and basically calculate the elapsed time between those two timestamps. And so in this case, I mean, it would only make sense for this many users to be considered repeat users if I mean, like, they don't use the apps that often or that much. Like, if they've used it twice and the elapsed time, or like 2 independent sessions, and the elapsed time between those 2 independent sessions is less than an hour, well then, makes sense. But if they use it very often, I mean, and all it would take is just for one of those, that might be a problem too. But basically, how the algorithm is written right now, if 2 independent sessions are, in this case, beyond an elapsed time of 1 hour, then that user would be considered a non-repeater. But then that might be a problem though, because I mean, what if the situation is that the average elapsed time between sessions is less than an hour. And maybe that's what I should go off of for any given user. That might be the best way to do this. Hopefully that made sense. I mean, it makes sense to me while I'm thinking about it, but I want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly to you guys. So what I probably should do is calculate an average elapsed time between independent sessions. And if that average elapsed time between sessions is less than an hour, which of course an hour is what I've defined to be, an hour or less is what I've defined to be a repeat user. All right, thank you. Actually, Adam, this is good information. I normally try to map for around an hour at a time. Okay, so for a given session, you try to map for around an hour. But how much time would you say elapses between that session of mapping around from an hour to another session of mapping for another hour? So how much, like, what's the gap would you say for that? So do the median elapsed time. Okay, so I'm thinking about what you're saying, Keeper of Maps. Is that to like make sure I don't get any outliers messing up my calculations? Is that the reason why you've suggested the median elapsed time? Okay, so your fingers go numb after an hour. And I completely understand that. But yeah, if we use the median, that would definitely like reject outliers. Yep, we'll dampen out the extremes. I agree with you. Okay, so then that's what I'll do. So I have to make a few changes to the code because this plot I'm looking at is like, it's not what I expected, but okay, I'm gonna use that then. So if you're doing 4 sessions per week, so I want to change that into like number of hours between. So 4 out of 7, right? And that's 7 days. So I need to convert that to units of hours. Guys, your information here is invaluable. All right, so 24 hours in a day. So that's 1 out of 24. 24. Need to multiply this because I want to get this. Well, that should be good enough right there. Actually, that gives me hours. So that comes out to being 0.023 and some other numbers sessions per hour. Okay. Definitely agree with you there, Keeper of Maps. Alright, so let me quickly get this down actually. So yeah, definitely want to consider that. Consider number of sessions. Alright. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. Um, and I definitely want to change it up. Like I said earlier, I want to be able to talk about that problem that Larry suggested. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time towards getting that together. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and definitely go ahead and make these modifications to this, and then see what the results are going to be. And probably also take some time to get some lunch, because it's lunchtime for me essentially right now. All right, guys. Hey, Ryan. I'm actually about to log off now. But we just finished talking about one of the functions I'm building for being able to do some basic data reduction for the Moon, Mercury, and Mars mapper projects. Yes, Susie, lunch is going to be great because my stomach. I hope you guys didn't hear, but my stomach is kind of telling me like it's about that time. Oh, this is all great. The distribution of the number of sessions per user. So yeah, that's actually really good too. I should speak with Pamela about some of this stuff. I mean, she might actually have already built like, tools for this, but if not, I mean, per user per app. I should also make that app dependent as well. Oh wait, Ryan, are you saying that those? Excuse me. Wow, my words are really mixed up right now. Are you saying that we do not currently have functions that do this stuff? I see you said laugh out loud. Nope. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go because it looks like someone else is doing something else, another stream. All right, guys, I'll see you later, and thanks again. I'll be back on this Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. All right. We'll do Keeper of Maps. All right, guys. Bye.